It's a big day, big discussion that we'll be having. We've been telling you about it. Welcome now to the big story. And as you'd have heard, Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness is seemingly about to revamp his administration and the government Jamaica Labour Party ahead of the 2025 general elections. You'd have heard the news by now that State Minister of Education Marcia Smith resigned, marking the beginning of what some would say is an anticipated high-profile departure, a series of high-profile departures. Of course, the Minister of Finance resigned a few days ago. He's going off to the IMF. Now, Marcia Smith has resigned, and you get the feeling that the Prime Minister needs to inject some new energy, maybe some fresh talent, strengthen the vulnerable areas. What are his plans and what should he be thinking of doing right now? The opposition People's National Party is gaining ground, setting the stage for what is building up to be a high-stakes battle here in Jamaica. This morning, to help us dissect this development, we have Kevin O'Brien Chang, well-known political commentator. Good morning, Kevin.
Morning, Ricky. How's everything?
Everything is going well, Kevin. Good to have you once again. And we're joined, Kevin, by Mr. Colin Bell, and he's a political representative for the People's National Party over there in East Portland. Good morning to you, Colin. How are you doing, bro?
I'm good, Richie. Morning to you, morning, Kevin. Morning to your listeners.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Morning, Colin. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Let me start with you, Kevin. Do you think the Prime Minister has a heavy load to carry right now and has some serious decisions to make? And what is your view of what he has to do, like, right now?
Well, you said it well there. Has to inject some energy. The JLP is a two-term government now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the two-term governments, universally in democracy, tend to be a bit lazy. They've gotten fat and lazy. You know, they used to be in power. And sometimes people get used to thinking that, oh, we're in power now and we'll be in power forever. It's one of the challenges to keep, when people are successful and, getting cushion the jobs, how do you get them to work? And that's the feeling many people have watching the JLP. I'm not an insider, but you watch from the outside, that the energy doesn't seem to be there. Almost as if some of them don't care if they win back. And so, Shelley Ann Fraser always says, the great Shelley Ann Fraser, that who wants it usually wins. Who wants it more. The PNP is certainly very hungry. They've been out of power since 2016. So the challenge of Mr. Holness is to inject some hunger into the JLP. Your guys, we can lose. You have got to realize that, and so we've got to fight and get in the trenches and fight and battle. And that is his job, as you say, to inject some energy. The Marcia Smith situation, well, for years we've been hearing that the Labourites are not happy with her own people, much more the PNP who is on the other side. And people have been wondering why the PM have not done something before. But it is better late than never, as they say. And he's showing now that, I'm listening. The people are not happy with this representative. And so she has to go. There are other seats that the Nigel Clark seat has to be a by-election eventually. The representative there is settled. And the Marsha Dalrymple, she's retiring. Mm-hmm. And there are other people who have seen that, their time has come. They've served well, but the time has come for them to retire. A number of other people, I won't call the names, is widely seen. So he has a lot of changes to make, and he's a chess player, as they say. So perhaps the move he makes now, the 3 moves down the road might look differently, Matty Semuda, they say, is seen as the person to take up for Marcia Smith, but who knows? He might bring somebody else and put Matty Semuda somewhere else. We don't know. But as you say, he has to inject energy. If he wants to win the next election, he has to inject energy. That's the bottom line.
All right, thank you for that, Kevin. Let me turn to Colin, Mr. Bell. What is your reading into the situation? Is it a case, as Kevin puts it, that the PNP is hungry? Hungry for what? Is it hungry for power? What is your reading on these developments, Colin Bell?
Well, the PNP has been out of government for 8 years and counting. So, of course, the PNP is ready to govern Jamaica, because what we have had is a failing administration. They have failed in every department in terms of people lives getting better, in terms of education. We have a back to school where right here in East Portland, your school, Richie, your alma mater, is opening on a phased basis because the maintenance have not been happening, and therefore they have to be tearing off the roof. Yes, Beryl did exacerbate the problem. Happy Grove has not opened any at all, and we have had along some of these. In Portland, we got back current within 2 weeks after the hurricane. We will look at the economy where people are suffering, people can't buy food, people can't find money for transportation. So what has been happening is a failing administration, and I think the Prime Minister has realized that this team can't go back on the field. And therefore, what he's maybe trying to do is to find a new team, because when you look at the bench, looking at the finance minister who is moving on to greener pastures, and I dare say greener pastures, the bench is really empty. There's nobody there to fill that slot. And when you look at Marsha Smith resigning with immediate effect, you wonder what is happening. An election is due within a year, and for her to be resigning now with immediate effect, I don't think that is something normal. Something has gone awry, and we are seeing more. I mean, I am very disappointed, Richie, that we have a finance minister, second in command, I dare say, resigning to take up a bigger job with bigger paying job. I am a nationalist, and I don't know if it sits well with me to see the finance minister moving out like that. I mean, to Nigel Clark personally, big up. And I mean, it looks good on Jamaica's resume that a Jamaican could aspire to that job. But I feel defeated, and even will ask the question, was he the Prime Minister? Would he leave and take up that kind of job? So the commitment to country is a thing that sits in my heart as a former military, as an ex-military man. So what is happening? Some of us said the JLP self-destructing. Some of us said people are jumping off the sinking ship. But this team just can't go back on the field. Let
me ask you though, Shaka, because of over the years, I mean, obviously the PNP would have criticized, strongly criticized Nigel Clark, and so there are some who would say, well, you should, as a party, be happy to see his back, but it doesn't seem that way based on your comment.
Richie,
yeah.
Nigel is the best of the bad lot over there. Was he doing a good job? No. But at least he was keeping the fiscal discipline. And we are saying that we don't want the country to mash up before we get it. We want the country at least to be in a position where it can still go on. So when we look at Nigel basically paying off the banks faster than he needs to pay them off, but at least it keeps a little reputation for the country. If he goes in this position, because remember right now also there's a $40 billion hole in the budget that Nigel did not explain where that money is going to come from. He talks about selling some receivables. He didn't tell us what those were going to be. So if Nigel, with his qualification, couldn't tell us what it's going to be, and when we look at the bench, we don't see nobody with the capacity to deal with that, then we are wondering what is going to happen. And that's why the party leader is calling out, tell us who next going to come, because we don't see nobody on the bench.
All right, that is Colin Bell from the People's National Party. But as a political commentator, Kevin O'Brien Chang, what are your thoughts on Dr. Clark's departure, and who, without necessarily naming individuals, do you think the Prime Minister has some choices and good choices that could replace him.
Listen, I don't think any well-thinking Jamaican could not be happy to see Nigel Clark elevated to where he is. The second man in charge of the IMF, second person, and who knows down the line he may come to the top. I mean, it is a great achievement for Jamaica. We're known for our great singers, right? Our great athletes. But here is an international recognition that we cannot only sing and run. We have brains. And Nigel has put this as a black man too. That the IMF has only ever before. They're used to having white people here, bluntly, Europeans and Americans, right? It's a change. It's a signal from the IMF that they're opening up, not from the Western European American the domination. They're opening up to other countries. I mean, the world is a big world. We have all different colors in there. And it's a recognition that Niger, the IMF has said it over and over, the World Bank, the Financial Times, they have gotten universal praise for cutting the debt to GDP ratio from 120 when the JLP took over to 70 now. It's a fantastic achievement. They call it the Jamaican miracle, if you read the Financial Times. And I think every Jamaican must feel proud. It's a recognition of that we are a country that has brains as well as other talents. And how could Nigel turn down such an honor? If you are, and he's not a career politician, Remember, he came in about 5 years ago. He's not somebody who is, career politics is my career, my destiny. So it's hardly surprising to see that he's done a good job and he got a great honor. I don't know about the money, but certainly the prestige is what must be the big factor for him. And as I said, how can any well-thinking Jamaican not be proud to say Jamaica elevated to this position? My mind boggles when I hear people saying, why should he take this job? They say that he's running away. It's like a man playing Premier League football in Jamaica Football League and get a Premier League job in England. He wouldn't take it.
But his departure...
It's irrational, and I've said, I'll come back to the point, he's not a career politician. And people forget, before Nigel Clark, Audrey Shaw was there and David Williams was his deputy. The economy was doing well. It wasn't like in tatters. And I'm going to say this, that everybody is entitled to their opinions, right? No problem with that. But the facts are clear. The dollar has been stable under the Nigel Clark and Audrey Shaw. The debt to GDP ratio has plummeted. The lowest unemployment rate in history, it was 12% in 2016, down to 4%. Highest minimum wage ever, 12 consecutive quarters of GDP growth. Murders are down 16% this year. I mean, anybody who says Jamaica there's nothing is happening, they're not really looking at the facts. And these are not orange or green facts. These are numbers. You can't argue numbers. Numbers have no color and they don't lie. So the JLP obviously is terrible at PR. There's no way a country that is doing so well in the numbers, the government should be struggling like it is. They're terrible at PR, but that's their business, right? Yeah. They have to fix that. But the country is certainly doing better. They never before has all the important metrics in Jamaica been so positive. That's a fact. Anybody who wants to go back in history, I've written about it, you can look it up. The unemployment is low, inflation is under control, the economy is growing, the dollar is stable, the debt to GDP ratio is low. Never before have all these numbers lined up. So, and crime has been the big problem, but now we see crime is down 16%. Let's hope the JCF can keep it going.
Yeah, Kevin,
the country is in decent shape.
Yeah.
It's for the people to decide whether they want the government or both them. But nobody who looks at the figures can say the country is not doing well at this time. And the IMF has shown their approbation that look, you're doing so well, we want your guy to come and help us out.
Before I bring back Colin, though, I wanted you to give me your reading into the possible replacements and how difficult a job that might turn out to be for the Prime Minister to replace Dr. Nigel Clark.
Remember, Nigel did not come from the political class. He was an outsider, a businessman, and he was brought in. And who's to say the Prime Minister could not bring in another figure from the private sector? That's a strong possibility.
Okay. Strong possibility. Now, Colin, what faces the Prime Minister are a number of options that he has to take serious decisions very, very quickly. From your side, from the People's National Party side, are you seeing by-elections or are you mostly focused on general elections?
All right, Richie, let me correct some. Nigel Clark will not be second in command at the IMF. There are 4 deputies at the IMF, and Nigel Clark will be the 4th down the line. So he's not second in charge first. The next thing is that we are not at 4% unemployment anymore. We are at 5.5%, and we are also at 2% underemployment. The third thing is that for 9 quarters, our economy has been in decline. We are having growth, but from where we are coming from after COVID, the economy is now declining for 9 consecutive quarters. So we want to remember that. And the dollar right now is at the lowest it has ever been. We are at $58, 158 and change. And the Bank of Jamaica is saying that the economy is declining. So those are the facts. Now, by election, when I mentioned earlier in my first piece that for Marsha to resign with immediate effect, something has gone awry. And it is also saying to us that there might be a by-election because as I said to you, the bench, you don't see anybody on the bench to replace Nigel. So Kevin may be right that the Prime Minister may need to bring somebody from outside to fill that slot. And therefore, to do that, there will have to be a by-election because you can't be the Minister of Finance if you are not elected. Now, to have a by-election within a year of a general election, we are not endorsing that. We believe that if there is going to be any election in Jamaica at this time, outside of the local government, because we also have 2 local government seats that is now vacant, and a local government election is almost 4 years away, so those are fine. But for the parliament, if there's going to be any election, we believe it should be a general election. To waste taxpayers' money now to go for a by-election, and it's not one seat that is empty. You have Nigel Clark's seat, you have Dalrymple seat, and now Marsha Smith. And of course, we know that there are other people out there who will not be going back in the next election. None of those resign, and that's why I'm saying for Marsha to resign with immediate effect, something has gone awry. That's not just a simple resignation, Richie. But to the by-election, we say no. If you want an election, call a general election. Don't waste taxpayers' money. A by-election is going to run us, one by-election is going to run us anywhere between $30 and $50 million, right? We don't have that kind of money, even though they are saying we have all this money. But if we had all this money, most of the things would be fixed.
All right.
We see we're rolling out 270 buses Monday morning. In 2016, we roll out 450. So the thing is in decline. In 2016, electricity was 23 cents US per kilowatt hour. We are at 50 cents per kilowatt hour now, the highest electricity bill in the world.
Is it that bad?
It is that bad,
Yes.
Richie.
All
So
right.
don't make them draw no wool over your face. 2016, 23 cents per kilowatt hour. Presently, 50 cents per kilowatt hour. Nowhere in the world people are paying that kind of electricity bill.
All right. Let me get another question into Kevin here, Colin. Kevin, we you have intimated at it. Retirement and resignations are 2 of the issues that the Prime Minister has to grapple with right now. How do you believe an influx of fresh talent might impact the electoral chances for the current administration?
Okay, first quickly, Richard, I'm not going to get into any arguments on numbers. Anybody can come to starting numbers and the explanations and all that, but Jamaica has not had 9 quarters of economic decline. It's 12 quarters of consecutive growth. Anybody can look the numbers up. Anybody can make and talk. If you go look at the numbers and starting, you can see the reality.
Okay.
As I said, the thing about politics is the number one thing is always fire in the belly. If you don't have that fire in the belly, you're not going to win. And not everybody has it, and not everybody's a natural politician. It's a special breed, like everything else. The politics is a special breed. You have to be persons to be in politics. You have to like people. Nigel Clark was never a great political fit. Many have always said that. Nigel is a numbers man. So nobody ever expected him to stay there for the long run. So he's, in my view, and I must clearly think so, the best finance minister Jamaica's ever had. But he's not a natural people person. And so that's a challenge for the Prime Minister. Get people who, in the candidates, who are people persons, they genuinely relate to people and want better for the country. Where's going to get all of those from? Well, that's his job. And I mean, there are a number of young people in the JLP. The JLP has probably the youngest cadre of MPs in Jamaica that I had. A lot of the young people are there. The older guard, the natural thing is, as we get older, and I'm getting older too, so I see the reality, you get less energy. The energy of youth, right? And the wisdom of age. Well, sometimes age has wisdom, but the energy is diminished. So most people expect a lot of the older folks to be retired. Well done, faithful servant. And you channel this youthful energy into the election. And I tell you one thing, I'm not going to give specifics because I'm not an insider, but Kamina Smith-Johnson, she was one of the JP's great assets in 2016 election. She's been a great foreign minister, most people think. But you can't be injecting energy on the ground if you are flying all over the world. I would recommend that they make Kamina Johnson, bring her back on the ground in Jamaica, maybe, who knows, education minister or something, and channel her energy back onto the ground. You have Matthew Samuda, Robert Morgan, a lot of young people, and then many people feel that they have to make these young people, put them in the forefront, and retire some of the older folks. That would be the natural thing to do. And then, I don't know who any new candidates might be, I'm not an insider, but the simple thing would be, empower the youth and retire the old. And that will at least inject energy into the party.
Okay.
And again, I'm no insider. I'm from the outside looking
Yes,
on.
you're a political commentator, so you're looking in from the outside. I have 2 minutes to go, gentlemen. Shaka, I wanna turn it back to you. What are the strategies, if you can put it in 1 minute, that the PNP will employ going forward at this time?
Well, the PNP is ready in Bridge. We are ready for any eventuality. We are ready for a general election. We've been ready for a little while. Candidates are in place. And therefore, we are just saying to the Prime Minister, don't waste taxpayers' money anymore. A lot of wastage and a lot of corruption has gone in the last 8 years. Let us be prudent. And if you want some new blood and you think you are in pole position, call a general election. Don't waste the taxpayers' money on a by-election and then within another 6-7 months there's a general election. We don't see the sense for that. We are looking out for Jamaica and Jamaica first.
All right. Kevin, you have always said that the JLP needs to do better at their PR. What strategies should they be employing at this stage?
Well, let's tell people the good news. As I said, if you look at the numbers don't lie. The metrics for Jamaica have never been better overall. And personally, what they need is a communication czar. I'm going to tell you this about Holness. In my view, he's an excellent Prime Minister. I've seen the country prosper in many ways. But he's seen as a one-man band kind of guy. He wants to do everything himself. And, it's not possible to do everything yourself. You only have so much time and energy. And I believe he should, delegate some of the stuff and put a communication czar, probably bring in somebody from the outside, away from the party in fighting, and have them come up with a strategy to tell people about the record unemployment and the record low unemployment, the GDP ratio. And they say these are the crime is down. Crime is down 16% so far this year, murders, right? 2/3 of the year gone. We're on track to have the lowest murder rates in 2014. Are you hearing that said out there? Crime is the number one issue in the country. It's down. Let's keep fingers crossed, and the JCF have been in an excellent job. You would think people were talking about that, but they're not. And whose fault could that be but the party in power? That kind of stuff, that's the most obvious thing you could see. That, look, you think people want crime to go down, and yet people don't know about it. That means you're failing in your PR.
Right. Kevin O'Brien, Chang, political commentator, Colin Bell, political representative, and the PNP spokesman on culture. Thank you both for your time this morning and for sharing your thoughts. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Richard.
Blessings, Richard, anytime. Big up, Kevin. Bless up.
All right.
Yeah,
thanks much, gentlemen. Take care.